There is a great truth that few people ever master. No one can make you angry without your permission. Every time you react with irritation, frustration, or resentment, you are giving away control of your mind to someone else. You're allowing their actions, words, or attitudes to dictate your inner state. That is surrender, not strength. If you want to rise to the highest levels of success, you must develop the discipline to remain calm and unshaken, regardless of what others do. Anger clouds your thinking. It pushes you toward decisions you later regret. It poisons your relationships. It robs you of creative energy and breaks your focus. And worst of all, it makes you a slave to the very person you dislike. You must train yourself to be unbothered. This is not about ignoring wrong or injustice. It's about refusing to let another person's negativity rent space in your mind. When you become immune to offense, you gain a rare advantage: clarity. While others waste energy on emotional outbursts, you're still moving forward, still thinking clearly, still controlling the game. This control doesn't come naturally. Ask yourself, if I give this my anger, am I feeding my success or feeding my ego? Almost always the answer is clear. Anger feeds your ego but starves your growth. Choose growth. Imagine two people in the same situation. One is provoked and explodes. The other smiles, keeps calm, and carries on. Which one earns trust, respect, and influence? Which one appears in control? The world rewards the person who remains calm under fire. Remember this: every challenge to your temper is a test. Life is asking, do you control yourself or do you let others control you? Pass enough of these tests and your self-mastery will become unshakable. The moment you stop being bothered by anyone, you become free, free to think, free to create, free to live on your own terms. That's the mental strength all great leaders possess. And it can be yours if you decide today, no matter what anyone says or does, I will keep my peace. My mind belongs to me and no one else. Hold to this decision, and soon you'll discover a deep power that few ever find, the power of complete self-control. And once you master yourself, there is nothing in life you cannot master. No one can make you angry without your permission. This truth is one of the most powerful principles you can ever adopt in life, yet most people give it little thought. Every time you feel offended, insulted, or frustrated, it's easy to point the finger at the other person, to blame them for making you feel a certain way. But the reality is they did not control your mind. You did. You chose your reaction, even if it was a split-second unconscious choice. The moment you accept this responsibility, you take back your power. When you say, they made me mad, you're giving them ownership over your emotional state. You're admitting that their behavior has the authority to control your mood, your focus, and even your actions. This is a dangerous place to live from because it means your peace of mind is always at the mercy of other people's words or actions. But when you understand that anger requires your permission to exist within you, you stop being a victim of other people and start being the master of yourself. Think about it. Two people can experience the exact same insult. One explodes with rage, while the other smiles and lets it pass. What's the difference? The words were the same, but the meaning they allowed those words to have was different. The second person understood that someone else's negativity is nothing more than an invitation, and they refused to RSVP. The power lies in that refusal. Anger not only drains your energy, but it also clouds your judgment. When you let emotions take over, you make decisions based on impulse rather than logic. You say things you regret, damage relationships, and lose focus on your true goals. Every time you give someone the power to upset you, you're handing them the steering wheel of your life. Why would you give that privilege to anyone, especially to those who do not have your best interests at heart? The discipline here is to pause and ask yourself in the heat of the moment, do I want to give this person control over my mind? Is this worth my focus? Almost always the answer will be no. In that pause, you reclaim your authority over your emotions. You learn to respond, not react. Refusing to get angry does not mean you tolerate wrong or remain passive in the face of injustice. It means you act from a place of clarity and control, rather than letting rage dictate your next move. Calmness allows you to address situations more effectively, and often it leaves those who tried to provoke you powerless and frustrated because they failed to get a reaction. When you make it a personal rule that no one can make you angry without your permission, you step into a level of freedom and strength that few people ever achieve. Your mood becomes your own. Your energy stays intact. Your focus remains unshaken. And in that state of self mastery, you become unstoppable. Anger is a loss of control. The moment you allow anger to take hold of you, you hand over the reins of your mind and actions to emotion instead of reason. Anger feels powerful in the moment, but it is a deceptive power. It burns hot and fast, leaving behind regret, wasted energy, and often damage that cannot be easily undone. True power is not in exploding when provoked, but in maintaining your calm when every nerve in your body is screaming to react. When anger rises, it hijacks your ability to think clearly. Your brain shifts from logical analysis to emotional impulse. You speak words you did not fully mean, make decisions without weighing the consequences, and take actions that may harm your relationships, reputation, or opportunities. In that moment, you are not in charge. Your anger is. And anger has no concern for your long term success. It cares only for immediate release. People often justify their anger by claiming they were just standing up for themselves, or that anyone would be mad in that situation. But the truth is, every angry reaction is a choice, even if it feels automatic. There is always a fraction of a second where you can decide to respond differently. That choice is where your real control lies. The person who can pause, breathe, and speak calmly in the middle of chaos is far more powerful than the one who shouts the loudest or strikes the hardest. Losing control to anger not only harms you in the moment, but it also shapes how others see you. Oh. Leaders, influencers, and respected individuals are rarely those with quick tempers. They are the ones who can handle pressure without cracking, who can hear criticism without lashing out, who can remain steady when others are losing their heads. People naturally trust and follow those who demonstrate emotional stability because they know such a person can be relied on in difficult times. Another hidden cost of anger is the toll it takes on your own well being. The stress response it triggers in your body can harm your health over time, raising blood pressure, weakening your immune system, and draining your energy. By letting anger control you, you are not only giving up mental control, but you are also damaging your physical vitality. The discipline to remain calm when provoked is not built overnight, but it is one of the most valuable skills you can ever develop. It starts with awareness, recognizing when anger is rising and choosing to pause before it owns you. Over time, you train your mind to see provocation as a test, an opportunity to strengthen your self control rather than a reason to lose it. In the end, anger is a weakness disguised as strength. Anyone can get angry, it takes no skill. But the ability to stay composed under fire is the mark of real mastery. When you refuse to let anger control you, you don't just keep your dignity, you keep your power. Self control must be trained. No one is born with unshakable discipline or the ability to remain calm under every circumstance. These qualities are forged through conscious effort, repeated practice, and the willingness to endure discomfort in the short term for greater rewards in the long term. Just like a muscle, self-control grows stronger the more you use it, and it weakens when you neglect it. If you want to master yourself, you must commit to training your mind as deliberately as an athlete trains their body. Most people believe that emotional control will simply come with time or that they will naturally stay calm in the future. But without consistent training, the opposite happens. You become more reactive, more easily irritated, and less able to handle stress. Life constantly throws challenges your way, criticism from others, frustrating delays, unexpected problems, or people who push your buttons. If you do not prepare for these moments in advance, they will catch you off guard, and you will default to emotional reactions instead of composed responses. Training self control starts with awareness. You have to recognize the triggers that test your patience and the situations where you are most likely to lose your temper or focus. Once you know your weak points, you can create strategies to handle them better. This might mean pausing before you speak, counting to 10 before you reply, or even removing yourself from situations that threaten your composure until you are better prepared to face them. Repetition is the foundation of self-control. Every time you resist an impulse to react emotionally, you strengthen your ability to do so again in the future. The key is not perfection, but progress. Catching yourself 1 second earlier than you did before. Holding back one sharp comment you might have made. Choosing silence instead of an argument one more time than you did last week. Over time, these small victories compound into remarkable control over your emotions. It's important to understand that self control is not about suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist, it's about directing them toward productive action. Anger can be turned into determination, frustration into problem solving, and disappointment into renewed effort. Without training, emotions control you. With training, you control your emotions and can use them as tools rather than letting them use you. Just like physical training, there will be resistance. It will feel uncomfortable at first to stay calm when you want to react or to remain silent when you feel the urge to defend yourself. But this discomfort is the very sign that you are building strength. The more you practice, the less effort it takes until calmness becomes your natural state rather than a forced behavior. In the end, self control is the foundation of freedom. When you have trained yourself to remain steady, no matter what others say or do, you become untouchable. Life may still challenge you, but nothing and no one can pull you out of alignment without your consent. That is the ultimate victory, and it is won through training. Refusing to be bothered is a competitive advantage. In a world where most people are quick to take offense, lose patience, or get distracted by petty conflicts, the ability to remain unshaken is rare. And that rarity makes it powerful. When you choose to stay calm and unbothered, you separate yourself from the crowd. While others are wasting time and energy reacting to every insult, criticism, or inconvenience, you are still moving forward, focused on your mission. This difference in focus compounds over time and becomes a decisive edge in both business and life. Every moment you spend being upset is a moment you are not building, creating, or improving. Anger, irritation, and offense pull you out of the present and trap you in a cycle of emotional distraction. The competitor who can ignore these traps and stay locked on their goals will always outperform the one who gets pulled into them. Think about two professionals in the same industry. One spends hours talking about how unfair a client was, while the other takes that same time to find new opportunity. Over months and years, the second person will always be ahead, not because they had fewer problems, but because they refused to let those problems consume them. It is about mastering the art of choosing what deserves your attention. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every comment is worth answering. The more selective you become about where you invest your emotional energy, the more resources you have for the things that truly matter. This is why high achievers often appear immune to petty drama. They understand that their time, energy, and focus are too valuable to waste. There is also a psychological advantage. When you remain calm in situations that would rattle others, you project confidence and stability, Joe. People trust those who are steady under pressure, and they tend to give more responsibility and opportunities to individuals who don't lose their composure. Your reputation for emotional control becomes part of your personal brand, making you stand out as a leader rather than just another participant in the chaos. Being unbothered also keeps you in a constant state of creativity and problem solving. Emotional turbulence disrupts logical thinking, while calmness allows your mind to operate at its best. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can evaluate situations from a position of clarity, often finding solutions others miss because they are too caught up in the heat of the moment. Over time, this mindset becomes a shield. People realize that trying to provoke you is a waste of effort because you will not give them the satisfaction of a reaction. This frees you from manipulation, from being emotionally pulled off course, and from the energy drain that comes from constant conflict. In the end, refusing to be bothered is not just about inner peace. It is a strategic choice. It allows you to stay ahead, to outperform, and to achieve more simply because you are not wasting energy on things that do not move you closer to your goals. That is why it is one of the most overlooked but powerful competitive advantages you can have. Mastering yourself is the ultimate freedom. Freedom. Most people believe freedom comes from having no restrictions, doing whatever they want, and answering to no one. But that is not true freedom. That is simply being at the mercy of your impulses, habits, and emotions. Real freedom is the ability to control your thoughts, your reactions, and your actions regardless of external circumstances. When you master yourself, you are no longer a prisoner to anger, fear, doubt, or temptation. You operate from choice, not compulsion. Self mastery means you decide how you will think, feel, and act rather than letting the world decide for you. You are not swayed by every opinion, not controlled by every provocation, and not trapped by self destructive habits. You choose your direction in life and have the discipline to stay on that path. Most people fail not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack control over themselves. They get distracted, discouraged, or derailed by emotions they have never learned to master. When you master yourself, you take back ownership of your time and energy. You no longer waste hours replaying insults in your mind or complaining about problems you cannot change. Instead, you channel your attention into solutions, growth, and progress. You stop fighting battles that don't matter and start winning the ones that do. This is why the most effective leaders and achievers are those who have learned to manage themselves before trying to manage anything else. Self mastery also creates a sense of unshakable stability. Stability, the world can throw chaos, criticism, and challenges at you, but they will not break your composure. While others panic in uncertainty, you remain calm and deliberate. This calmness is not weakness, it is a sign of strength. It allows you to think clearly, make better decisions, and inspire confidence in others. People naturally follow those who can keep their head when everyone else is losing theirs. The beauty of mastering yourself is that it makes you immune to manipulation. No one can push your buttons, provoke your temper, or lure you into actions that go against your values. You become like a fortress, open to truth, guidance, and wisdom, but impenetrable to negativity and distraction. Others may still try to provoke you, but they will quickly realize it's a waste of effort because you control your mind and emotions, not them. This level of self control does not come overnight. It is built through discipline, self awareness, and consistent practice. Every time you choose patience over irritation, focus over distraction, or integrity over convenience, you strengthen your mastery. Over time, it becomes second nature, and you find yourself living with a deep sense of peace and power. Ultimately, mastering yourself gives you the freedom to live on your own terms. You are no longer a slave to moods, impulses, or outside pressure. You think clearly, act deliberately, and move confidently toward your goals. That is true independence, and once you have it, there is nothing in the world that can take it from you.